Welcome to the Create Your Happy podcast, where the mission is to empower women in their journey of self-discovery. Here we explore how to fully embrace our humanness, find our unique voice, and understand that through unconditional love and conscious relationships, we have the power to change the world. I'm your host, Christy Holt, your one and only happiness hussy, adventure guide, and conscious funpreneur. I'm on a heartfelt mission to change the world one beautiful soul at a time. Are you ready to elevate your relationships to the next level? I've got you. It's time for a messy fucking beautiful adventure. It's time to create your happy. Hey there, fabulous human. Welcome back to this cozy little corner of the podcast world where we go deep in conversation, but keep it light. I'm Christy Holt, your host, and today I'm wondering, have you ever felt like you're your own worst critic? Like, if self-flagellation were an Olympic sport, your inner bitch would have gold medals for days. Or maybe you feel a lot of resentment and anger towards others who have wronged you. Maybe it's both. Today I'm going to be tackling a topic that's as juicy as a gossip magazine, but way, way, way more nourishing for your soul. And that topic is forgiveness. Now, this is a dish that I believe is best served with a healthy helping of compassion. Something that's actually super life-changing, but seems to be often missed. And in this conversation, we'll be tackling forgiveness from more than one angle to be sure that you really have all of the resources that you need to free yourself from unforgiveness once and for all. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to turn that inner critic into your personal cheerleader and discover how you can harness the true power of forgiveness in order to release yourself from unnecessary suffering. Let's jump right in because I cannot wait to share how forgiveness and compassion can help you to find your ultimate freedom. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to inner peace and freedom. And it's actually not about what many people think. It's not about condoning hurtful actions or forgetting the pain that we've endured. And anyone or anything, I'm looking at you, religion, that has led you to believe that you must forgive others by letting them off the hook has lost both the true purpose and the real power of forgiveness. Now, it seems as though there are some pieces of the puzzle that might have been put in the wrong box. And as a result, we have spent a lot of time simply refusing to forgive because we believe that it's just something we simply cannot do. We just cannot do what's being asked of us. So let me be clear about what forgiveness is not before we dive all the way in. Firstly, forgiveness is not about forgetting what has happened to you. Secondly, forgiveness is not about tolerating or allowing poor behavior. And thirdly, forgiveness is not about letting someone else off the hook for what they've done. That's not up to you anyways. Now, if you're holding on to something really difficult right now, I want to oh so lovingly remind you that you absolutely did not deserve those painful things that you've been through. And even more importantly, you sure as hell don't deserve to keep dragging that shit with you, not even for one more minute. What you do deserve is freedom and peace. And the greatest news is that you alone hold the key to having it. Ultimately, forgiveness is a gift that we can give to ourselves. It is a release from the burden of anger and resentment that actually holds us back from experiencing true happiness. Now, our intended state of being is one of peace, love, joy, and happiness, and we deserve to live it. Forgiveness is letting go of the painful baggage that we've been carrying as a result of something that we did not deserve. And even if in some way you have ever questioned whether you might have deserved it, let me clear this right up for you. You did not deserve the bad things that happened to you, no matter what your involvement in them was or even was not. Now, here's what I know for sure. You were doing the best that you could with the resources and understanding that you had at the time. And what you deserve in your times of struggle is more love, not less. You deserve more love, not punishment. You deserve more love, not layers of guilt and shame. You deserve freedom, peace, love, and happiness, as again, these are the intended states of your being. So let's get down to it, shall we? Where do we start in this journey of forgiveness? Now, if you've been listening along this season, you will probably know what I'm about to say. So let's get right to the heart of the matter for a moment. Forgiveness, especially the self-serve kind, can feel about as comfortable as skinny dipping in the Arctic. But here's this real scoop. Holding on to the blame and resentment is like keeping a porcupine as a cuddle buddy. Prickly AF and absolutely not recommended. So here is the one key takeaway. If there is one that you will take away from this episode, it is this. There is absolutely nothing outside of you that will save you from your guilt, your shame, your pain, and your suffering. You are the one. So here and now, I invite you to let yourself be free. Now, because I realize that this is something that's much easier said than done, we're going to explore how to actually harness the healing power of self-forgiveness, allowing you to move forward with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. It's truly time that you allow yourself off the hook, free from the suffering and pain that you may have been carrying. Seriously, you deserve to put that shit down. And to quote Lizzo, it's about damn time. So in your journey and returning to your state of wholeness, self-compassion is the soothing balm that nurtures our wounded hearts. It's a gentle reminder that we are in fact human, deserving of the same kindness and understanding that we more often easily extend to others than ourselves. And I want to share with you a couple of practical ways today to cultivate self-compassion, because learning to treat ourselves with the tenderness and care that we so easily offer to others is a complete freaking game changer. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to be sharing an exercise with you to help start lightening the load so that you can finally bask in this freedom that you deserve, this freedom that you alone can offer yourself. But for right now, I invite you to take a self-compassion break. This is a very small yet meaningful exercise that you can weave into your day. So let's practice now for just a moment by taking a brief, quiet moment, placing a hand over your heart, and simply say something kind to yourself. Perhaps, I'm doing my best, and that's enough. And just breathe that in and let it land. You really do deserve love. And when you're struggling, simply pausing and connecting in with your heart, you can remind yourself that you are doing your best and that that's more than enough. In doing so, you allow yourself to feel the love flow within and from your heart. Are you feeling stuck in your relationship? What if I told you the key to a happier, more fulfilling relationship starts not with them, but with you? Introducing Love Reimagined, a transformative mini course designed to revitalize your relationships from the inside out. Unlock practical tools that empower you to make meaningful changes from within. Ready to reimagine love? Join me now and take the first step toward relationship bliss. Now, when it comes to forgiving others, this task can be just as challenging, or sometimes even more so. Sometimes a part of us does not want to let it go. And so many times we end up having identified ourselves so heavily with our hurt that we almost have become it, unsure of who we might actually be without that story, without that struggle, without that pain. And so, again, if the idea of forgiving another seems to be just a little too much, I invite you today to just leave that and focus on forgiving yourself. Focus on loving yourself. And focus on first saving yourself from the unnecessary suffering that you've endured by continuing to carry this with you. When it comes to the hurt inflicted on you by others, the most crucial step you can actually take here is simply acceptance of what is. To wish something hadn't happened, to believe something else should have happened or shouldn't have happened, or to continue to rehash the past is only going to do three things. Number one, it's going to keep you arguing with a reality that you simply do not have the power to go back in time to change. Number two, it will keep you buried under the weight of ongoing suffering. That's no fun. And number three, it's going to keep you from finding and experiencing the freedom, peace, love, and happiness that you truly fucking deserve. So today, you don't have to let anyone off the hook for their past transgressions, but can we all agree to just leave the past in the past and do what it takes to find the freedom from suffering that you did not deserve? It happened, absolutely. It sucked. You didn't deserve it. And you can move forward starting right now. So I introduce you to self-care, a non-negotiable practice, if you will, because in a world that often demands us to put everyone else first, declaring self-care as a priority can feel pretty, mind-blowing. We've been taught for our whole lives long that self-care and self-love is selfish. And so we have ended up paying the price by way of people-pleasing to the point of self-abandonment and trying to keep up with everything to the point of sheer exhaustion. Now, self-care happens to be the antidote. And I'm here to tell you today that caring for ourselves is actually the most powerful act of self-love. And this is actually the least selfish thing that you can do. It's really important to acknowledge that your needs matter. And we cannot pour from an empty cup. So when you don't care for yourself well, you'll have less to give, right? You won't have as much to give to other people. So together, let's break down any myths surrounding self-care being selfish, because making time for ourselves is actually the ultimate act of kindness. Self-love is the foundation on which we can build a life of fulfillment and happiness, right? This is about embracing our wholeness, the light and the shadows, with an open heart and with complete acceptance. Now, this acceptance doesn't mean resignation, right? It actually means acknowledging our reality without arguing against it or adding our judgment to it. Rather, instead, choosing to simply grow from it. And again, I cannot stress this enough. This journey is not selfish, but rather it is essential for our well-being and our growth. Acceptance is letting go. It is releasing the resistance to what is. It's releasing those arguments against reality, which only serve to keep us stuck inside of an inner battle against what we are powerless to change. It is understanding that our energy, whether it be positive or negative, gives life to what we focus it on. So choosing with intention to focus on what we do want rather than what we do not helps us to unleash our creative power and have more of it. Essentially, by choosing acceptance, we stop fighting against the current of life and start flowing with it. And you can learn how to practice acceptance in your daily life. When you do, and you will find peace. So how do we start accepting our reality? Well, my friend, today we're going to explore the art of self-forgiveness with a wee twist of fun, because let's face it, being oh so serious is very last season. We're about to embark on what I'm calling the Oops, Let It Go self-forgiveness challenge that is essentially like a mini adventure for the whole ass human, minus the heavy baggage of your past mistakes. So here's what we're going to do. And trust me, this is going to be easier than choosing what to binge watch on Netflix. So go ahead and grab a piece of paper, a pen, or a journal if you're a little bit fancy like that. Now, before we get right down to it, I want to just take a quick breathing pit stop. I want you to inhale some good vibes, breathe in some love, and then exhale the oopsies. Feeling a little bit lighter? Perfect. Because that is the magic of not taking life too seriously. Next, on your paper, I want you to think of a recent oopsie moment and write down one thing that you may have been beating yourself up a little bit about. Got it? Good. Now, once you've got it written down, here's the fun part. You're going to write oops in big, bold letters right next to it. Why? Because you're a human, and humans are about as perfect as a two-legged chair. So next, jot down one tiny little doable thing that you can do to move forward, to learn from this oops, and or make amends if necessary. Now, don't over fucking complicate it. Your next step might be as simple as telling yourself, I'm human, I'm learning, or I'm doing my best and that's enough. Now give yourself a mental high five for being human. Next, whether you've completed an entire list or just wrote one thing down, I invite you to do a little happy dance. Yes, right now. Just for a few moments, I want you to dance like you've been crowned the fucking queen of letting go. Just for a moment, I want you to shimmy and shake like it's gonna change your life. And to hell with anyone watching, this dance is for you. It is going to help you to release the energy that you're ready to stop carrying so that you can make space for all of that peace, love, joy, and happiness to flow more freely. So shake, 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 and shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. And just like that, you've taken a huge step towards self-forgiveness. Now, why does this silly exercise rock? Because you may know from personal experience, I know I do, that beating ourselves up is actually often more of an excuse, and it often replaces us taking action to do something about it, right? When we layer on the guilt, we just end up feeling badly. And instead of learning and doing things differently, we stay paralyzed, stuck in the muck. But by acknowledging our oopsies with a lighthearted oops, we actually are giving ourselves permission to be imperfect. It's like telling your inner critic, thanks, but I've got this. And that one small step that you wrote down, that's you taking charge and moving forward out of the muck like the fucking rock star that you are. So here's the bigger picture, because embracing forgiveness and self-compassion isn't just about feeling better in the moment, though admittedly that's a pretty fucking sweet perk. What it's really about is creating a life where you're free to be your authentic, awesome self. It's about turning what if I mess up into what if I fly? And guess what? You have got wings, baby. It's time to fucking use them. So, my dear listeners, I am challenging you to give the oops, let it go exercise a whirl, maybe adding on a few more things. And I would love for you to share your experiences with me, the good, the bad, the ugly, and definitely the hilarious. Because if there's one thing that makes forgiving yourself a little bit easier, it's laughing through the process. Now, don't forget to hit subscribe for more adventures in self-love and epic tales of humanness. Until the next messy fucking beautiful adventure, I encourage you to keep hugging that inner porcupine. Gently, of course. I love you. Now let's go do some epic, self-compassionate, self-forgiving, and absolutely fabulous shit. Shall we? Thank you so much for listening to today's show. I trust you were inspired to take back your power and create your happy. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with the women in your life who could use a little more inspiration today. If you'd like to connect or explore the additional resources mentioned in this episode, you can find those details and links in the show notes below. As always, get out there, have fun, be you, and create your happy.